What's up, y'all? Why is this looking like this? Okay, there we go. What's up? What's up, you guys? Happy Monday. Happy Monday to all of my East Coast people. I hope you guys are safe and warm and all of those good things. My apologies for not giving you guys your review for the Real Housewives of Potomac reunion part 2 last night. But my cable, well, I have the dish and it wasn't recording. So I had to wait till I could watch it. And so I apologize, you guys. So here we are. Let's get into part 2 of this. So listen, I know y'all are used to me coming on right after, but by the time I realized it wasn't recording, it was like 8:40. By the time I realized it wasn't recording, and I was like, "There's nothing I can do about it now," So I had to wait till today. But we're here. So let me get into it. I did take some notes not last night, this morning. I watched it earlier today, and I did take some notes. So let me go on and get into it. We left off the reunion with Ashley and her messiness. Okay, we left off with Ashley. Let me say this. Ashley has always been messy. Ashley has always been a bone carrier. But I know you were tired. You gave us so much yesterday. I did. I was live like, oh my gosh. I was live 1, 2, 3, 4 times yesterday. So that would have been time number 5. I was tired, but I was ready for, listen, out of all of the ones, I was ready for Potomac. But it is what it is. Life happens the way it's supposed to happen. But Ashley has always been messy. I mean, we can go back to her first season, well, season 1, where she was the one that brought up the fact that Robin and Juan were bankrupt, right? She has always been that person. She has always been a bone carrier. She has always been messy. I think the difference now is 2 things for me. 2 things that are different. The first thing that's different is she also had a storyline, so her messiness sort of was spread out because she did have her marriage to Michael and they had their own thing going on, and then she was pregnant, and then they had the restaurant, and so she was bringing other things to the table other than just being messy. So it's sort of blended, I guess, for lack of a better word. The other thing that I think is different with Ashley's messiness is she's desperate to hold on to her flute. Now she said something in the interview. Hold on, I screen grabbed it. She said she was doing an interview and she said something along the lines of she was ready to leave Potomac when she was pregnant. Here it is right here. Ashley Darby says she did not want to be on the show the season her first son was born, and she's almost in that place again. I personally feel like that's her trying to get in front of the narrative because I think she knows that her job is on the line. I think she knows she's on the chopping block. Either production has told her or she just feels it. She's been around long enough to know what it looks like when somebody's getting ready to get fired or get reduced. And I honestly feel like people are seeing that. Kevin said people are noticing Ashley after Candace is gone. Well, Candace has been gone for 2 seasons. So that may be part of it. I don't know. That may be part of it. But I always saw Ashley for who she was. Now, I did not find Ashley to be as vicious. I did not find Ashley to be as lowbrow, I guess. I don't know. That's not even the word I want to use, but whatever. But at the end of the day, some of what Ashley is doing is just extreme. It's just on another level extreme. But girl, let's be clear. You can go. Like, I mean, one thing we learned about these reality shows is that everybody has fans. So I'm sure there are people that like Ashley and want to see Ashley stay. But based on comments, based on what y'all say in the chat, based on, being on the whether you like it or not panel, I think the overall feeling about Ashley is she can go. 1, you're not giving us a storyline. 2, the storyline you're giving us is disgusting. I mean, that's just it. I think so too. Someone was going back and forth with me on the video about Ashley. She said Ashley was going to quit because she had issues with Michael. In my opinion, I feel like all of that would have been resolved in the divorce. And let me be clear. clearly I don't know Ashley, I don't know Michael, and I was not there when they were negotiating their divorce. But I would be willing to put money that if Michael offered to pay Ashley what she was making on Potomac, she would have walked away. So when they were negotiating the divorce, if Michael no longer wanted Ashley to be on this show, Ashley wouldn't be on this show. I think that Michael was happy with them not talking about him on the show, or at least not talking about him negatively on the show. You know what I'm saying? She made a comment about, basically she said these new girls are soft, and the way they used to go at it, these girls just couldn't handle it. So they showed clips of Ashley going back and forth with Candace, with Karen, and they showed a clip of Ashley going back and forth with maybe Wendy. I'm not sure. Maybe it was Candace. But here's the difference, in my opinion, and y'all know y'all can disagree with me. The difference is y'all had built relationships. The way that y'all came at Angel, and I know Angel didn't do herself any favors, you guys. I'm okay. I'm fine. I understand that. But the way that y'all continuously came for Angel this whole season, she was a newbie. She don't know y'all from a hole in the wall. Y'all don't know her from a hole in the wall. The difference, when we saw those clips with Ashley going back and forth with people, that was 2 or 3 seasons in. That is when there's an established. They showed when that was a clip they showed when Karen made the comment about Giselle and her hot box, right? Candace and Giselle have known each other for years. And even then, Karen has said she knew she went too far. Karen has said in that moment, I knew it had gone too far. And she reeled it back in. So at the end of the day, yes, some nasty things have been said to the women. But I also think it's a difference when you have an established relationship with somebody, how far you can go. And that's just my opinion. Again, people can disagree with that. Let me read a couple of comments. Monique needs to realize that Ashley is not her friend either. I remember Ashley saying that she asked Chris if he slept with Stacey, and Monique was clueless. Yeah, but remember she talking about something, oh yeah, I saw Chris, and they were like, you saw Chris? Mm-hmm. Robin was about to beat her up for saying Juan only had 25-11, babe. They have always been sensitive. Hey, I agree with you, Really B. That didn't know Angel well enough to be going at her like that. Ashley saying that, but still sitting up there that night, still being offended at Wendy after 5 years. Giselle asking HR to tell Candace to not go too hard. They were sensitive too. Agreed. And I do agree with that. I feel like I hate when people are like, oh, well, we always been like that. They just need to get tougher skin. It was meant to be insulting, and it was insulting. And the different, and I'm gonna say this too. Thank y'all for bringing that up, DB and SCK. Because I also think the other part of it too is, does that make it okay? I mean, we just had this whole conversation about America's Next Top Model. Does that make it okay if that's the way things were done? Remember, this show is on their 10th season, which means it's probably been about 12 years that the show has been on the air. I think it's okay for people to be like, well, 7 years ago, we would have said that to each other and it would have been cool. I think it's okay to be like, now I think that's different. You know what I'm saying? I think it's okay to acknowledge what we can't do in 2026 what we got away with in 2016. So I think there's a difference in that as well. But actually, you're just a nasty witch. You just are. You just are. And you trying to justify your bad behavior by basically saying, oh, they just too sensitive and I will check, I will be more sensitive in the future. No, how about you just be nicer because it's okay to be nice? Why do you have to be so mean? Why do you have to be so nasty towards people? Then we went from that. We went into Ashley's package. Ashley, once again, you are such a disingenuous. Like, y'all was getting on Stacey about lying, and y'all sat there and let Ashley lie right in y'all face, and ain't nobody say shit about shit. First of all, Andy asked Ashley about the monetary settlement from her divorce. She's right. She shouldn't speak on money. She's absolutely correct. She shouldn't say shit about money. But again, you'll be the first person to ask somebody else about money, about their personal business, about their private. Like, you question whether Stacey was actually divorced or not. Yet we had to sit through 3 years of your almost divorce. Ain't nobody saying shit to you. You know what I'm saying? Then they got on the storyline with her stepfather. I'm gonna call him your stepdaddy. He your stepdaddy. Then we got to get on this storyline with your stepdaddy and your mama. Why all of a sudden now you don't have nothing to say? You used them as your storyline the whole season. Now you don't have nothing to say? Well, Andy asked the demands rehab work. Well, I mean, that's just not my story to tell. Girl, you've been telling that man's story. We know all that man's business. We know he lived under the bridge. He took your mama with him. We know he was an alcoholic. We know he doesn't treat your mama nice. He don't treat his daughter nice. Hello. You've been using him as a storyline. Now all of a sudden, well, that's not my story to tell. Well, that was your story to tell before. Then Andy asked about your mother's health. You don't want to answer that question. Ma'am, you literally brought all of those things to us. Andy didn't pull them questions out the sky. Andy didn't say, well, how's your mama doing? Because he just was being nice. He asked because it was your storyline. So that's why I'm saying, like, I go back to these bullshit storylines that you are just holding on to dear life to keep some sort of storyline on this show, because everything that was allegedly your storyline this season, you didn't want to talk about. Then we get to the Charisse of it all. Let me tell y'all something. Do I think that Charisse milked this moment? Absolutely, I do. I think Charisse went on a whole press tour and she milked the moment. She did. However, actually, that doesn't absolve you from what you did and how nasty what you did was. And Giselle, I can't stand a co-signing ass bitch just to be co-signing. You know good and damn well that if that had been one of your daughters, you would have a problem with it. You know good and damn well. So number one, for Ashley to be like, well, Charisse didn't have a problem with it until after the fact. Well, in the beginning, all you told Charisse was that you kissed that boy. And just because she was like, well, I alluded to more, you asked Charisse, well, if more happened, would you be upset? And you said it like with a smile, and y'all went on with the story. So for you to go on Watch What Happens Live and do a whole press tour and keep adding to the story, it went from he kissed me to, well, we messed around to, well, I thought Charisse knew because I was on the ring cam footage to, yeah, he came to my house. Like, you went from a kiss to a whole relationship, even if it was just friends with benefits. That's different. You telling me that my son leaned in and kissed you, I probably would feel some kind of way about that, but okay. But now you went from that, you went on a whole press tour. After the scene aired, mind you, you went on a whole press tour and kept adding to the story. Charisse has a right to feel some kind of way. And then for y'all to be like, well, Charisse has said that she wants Ashley to be her daughter-in-law. And even after she broke up with Michael, she was like, oh, so now you can marry my son. I have literally heard people joke about that all the time. Like, with my mother-in-law, there go my mother-in-law. Like, I have literally heard people joke about that. That does not give you permission to sleep with her son. And the fact that y'all sat there, you and Giselle, act like that gave y'all permission to sleep with that woman's son, that's some bullshit. And it's nasty. Nasty. And for y'all to sit there and act like Charisse is wrong for feeling some kind of way, maybe her opinion was delayed. Maybe it took her a minute. Maybe when she saw the playback, and then because she said that on Carlos King, she was like, the kiss didn't really bother me. It was you going on all these different places, going on a whole press tour, talking about you slept with him, and you slept with him repeatedly. She's like, that's different. And that did make me feel some kind of way. And again, like I said, do I think Charisse milked it? Yes, Charisse milked it. But the flip side is, actually, you did it, and that's nasty. Now you want to get on a reunion, and you want to backpedal and pussy pop and act like all you did was kiss him. That ain't what you said. Right, Quake? Like, people, I've literally heard people joke about that all the time. I have literally heard people joke. Now, I usually hear people joke when it's like somebody else's daughter, like, oh, you know, your daughter should really marry my son. They would make a cute couple. Like, I've heard that. I don't know so much about one of an adult friend. But like Ashley said, hell, they only 10 years apart. I'm not really, I guess I am heated because I just think Ashley is nasty. That was just, I'm going to tell you something. There's certain lines that you just crossed that I feel like that was just a line. And for her to be so, I think the fact that she tried to flip it and be so blasé about it is what pissed me off. If she had been like, you know what, Andy, look, that probably wasn't my best moment. I probably could have made a better decision. I was newly single and I was just out there and maybe I was out there too much. If she had handled it like that, I probably wouldn't my feelings probably wouldn't be as strong. But the way that she just sat there and act like it was just no big deal and like Sharice was wrong for feeling some kind of way about that, that's the shit that I don't like. But actually, you just nasty. Because then they brought up the whole Mauricio thing and you're going to sit there and lie. Right there, we saw what we saw, Ashley. You followed that man. You was asking that man, so what you doing tonight? And even when Giselle asked you about it, you were like, so what? What's the big deal? Like, he's single, I'm single. Like, girl, hello? Well, thank y'all for the people that are just getting here. Thank you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So now you're going to sit here and lie about the fact that you was flirting with this man. You were absolutely flirting with Mauricio. And you and Stacey was straight up on a mission. Y'all was flirting and you were on a mission. Abso-freaking-lutely. And for once, I have to agree with Giselle. Y'all, that would have been nasty. That would have been a line. Because Mauricio and Kyle are not divorced. I understand they are separated and people can date when they are separated. I get that. But again, I just think that would have been a line that would have been crossed. That's my opinion. She absolutely was, DB, chasing his ass all around that damn place. And then you want to sit here and act like we didn't see what we saw. You're going to believe me or your lying eyes? Bitch, I'm going to believe my lying eyes because I know what I saw. And then Mauricio had said, look, why don't you slide back? Slide back through. I'll be in Aspen a few more days. How much longer y'all going to be filming? All right, well, look, why don't you slide back through? Hit me up. I'll get you a jet. I'll get you back out here to Aspen. Ashley ass would have been on that first thing smoking in the opposite direction and headed her ass back to Aspen while the rest of them ladies was headed back to Maryland. And I believe that, and ain't nobody going to tell me different. I do too, Xavier. Xavier said, I'd rather actually see with Mauricio than Teresa's son. I do agree. I think so too, but I'm just saying, that's nasty. I don't care. It's how you slice it is just nasty. Now, the situation with Mauricio wouldn't have been nasty. I just think she would have been crossing a line. I mean, it's the same thing I said about Portia and Fallon. I'm not saying Portia and Fallon were friends. I just feel like it was a line that was crossed. But that's just me. That's old news. I ain't going back down the Portia storyline. And why? Thank you, SCK. Because they came up that Ashley was dating a politician and Giselle talking about something. Oh, I thought that was me you were talking about. Because, I mean, I was dating a congressman. First of all, I understand that he wouldn't necessarily film Giselle. But why are we always finding out shit about you after the fact? So you was dating a whole politician and nothing. And you saw Andy ask her. Andy was like, was that after we were done filming? And she was like, yeah, that was after filming. I was like, yeah, you better say it was after filming. Because Andy was, did y'all see Andy? Right. And Giselle, you wanted us to know because there was no need for you to even put that out there. Talking about, oh, I thought you were talking about me because I was dating a politician, a U.S. congressman. Girl, nobody asked you. Let me see if I hit everything in my notes before I move on to KK Child. Mom, stepdad. Oh, she writing a children's book. Okay. Added to okay, yeah, I think I got everything. All right, let's get into KK. Once again, KK, you are embarrassing your friend. So we have the package on KK, and they're talking about, you know, what happened during the season. We know, whatever. And so when they were when they played the clip where Karen was saying, like the old grandmother say, you have lost your power. You to move back in with this man, and now he ain't never gonna marry you because he doesn't have to. And Andy was like, do you still believe that? Giselle was like, baby, that's what the grandmama say. That's what the old mama say. So yeah, I mean, that's how I feel. So then Jazzy starts to, basically say, well, the people did things differently, and me and him do things our way. We do our own relationship. We do our things our way. And here come Angel. She is a beautiful, strong, independent woman, and she doesn't have to live by other people's rules. Now here go your friend trying to defend you. She the only one over here trying to defend your ass, KK. And KK gonna say, let me finish because I can defend myself. Angel, do you not see how this woman keep chin checking you? Do you not see this? Ma'am. Hey, Angel, you picked the wrong team, girl. KK is rude. And hold on, where is it in my notes? Because I want to make sure I put it in my notes. I did. So I'm going to wait till I get to that part of my notes. But I was like, so here we go again. You did it last week to Angel, and here you go again. Angel, all Angel was saying, she was just defending you as her friend. Girl, you could have let that woman say what she had to say because she didn't say nothing wrong. She just said, look, she don't have to play by the rules that y'all think she has to play by. She's a strong woman. She going to do things her way. It was so rude. She is crazy to put up with that. Ain't no way in hell. Like, you ain't going to keep embarrassing me. Got me up here looking crazy. I'm up here trying to defend you and shit, and you keep talking to me crazy. So then, I don't have a whole lot to say about Greg, because this is all I have to say about Greg. Girl, if you like it, I love it. Clearly, you are okay with being the cow instead of the milk. Or is it the other way around? You the milk instead of the cow. He getting the milk for free, so he ain't got to buy the cow. I fucked that up, but y'all know what I was trying to say. Girl, you are clearly okay with what that man is giving you, so if you like it, I love it. But here's what I'm going to say. What you can't do, and see, here's the problem. Here's the problem, KK. What you can't do is bring something to us as a storyline and then get mad when we got an opinion about it. Girl, you were the one that said last year that it was time to get married. You were the one that said, you put that storyline to us last year about you wanted a ring by a certain time, and if he didn't do a ring, if he didn't bring a ring to you, then you was going to have to reevaluate. Baby, that was you. We didn't tell you it was time to get married. We didn't say y'all been dating long enough. What's going to happen? None of us did that. You did that. And then you got embarrassed because you told everybody, well, I think he's going to propose when we go to Paris. I think he's going to propose. You were the one that got embarrassed because you didn't get that ring you thought you was about to get. Baby, that was on you. So now that everybody has an opinion, you can't be mad that everybody got an opinion now because you brought that story to us. We didn't knock on your door and ask you about it. You knocked on our door and told us about it. So that man played in your face, and Giselle brought it up. Girl, I don't give a damn if you like picture frames. I like candles. Y'all know I like candles. Y'all, even though I got to reevaluate my candle obsession after going to that candle making class, I learned some things. But y'all know I love candles. Y'all know I have all sorts of candles in my house, not just Bath and Body Works. Where am I doing? Oh, somebody just delivered a package. I have all sorts of candles in my house, but I wish like hell that a man that I'm dating would pick up my mama and my best friend and take them down to the jewelry store and look at engagement rings, knowing they're gonna come back and tell me. You know good and damn well that her mama and her friend couldn't wait to call her up and say, girl, guess where we went today? And then you walk in there with that box and it's a damn picture frame, and you added insult to injury by buying the picture frame from the same freaking store that y'all were looking at rings. You could have went anywhere and got a picture frame. You could have went anywhere and got a picture frame. Cheap one, expensive one. That man played in your face, and you know he played in your face. And then you're gonna show up with the picture frame, girl. No, what you thought that was gonna do? Y'all thought that? I mean, you thought that was gonna make any of us feel like? What you thought that was gonna do? Not K is a rabid dog, Chihuahua. Damn. Right. I mean, if you didn't want to buy a ring, you could have bought her a nice tennis bracelet. You could have bought her some nice earrings. Like the fact that you didn't even buy a piece of jewelry, girl, you played in that girl. She's talking about something. He knows that I really like picture frames. Girl, okay. But when you are expecting a ring, I don't give a damn. Greg said the only woman that's going to have his last name is his ex-wife. Well... Then we find out you lied about Wendy. Now, look, I know that we disagreed. When I say we, you know, hold on now. Y'all know that we disagreed about the Wendy conversation earlier this season. And I was team Wendy because I felt like KK was putting 20 on 10. I felt like she was looking for a storyline and she was using Wendy for it. I'm not saying Wendy is perfect. I'm not even saying Wendy don't have a little stank attitude sometimes. She does. But come to find out, you made a big deal about Wendy coming into that coming into that event, not speaking to you, not acknowledging you, only to find out that as soon as she got off of the podium, she literally walked right over to you and gave you a hug. And then the person there, not only somebody who was there, took a picture of it and sent it to Wendy so Wendy would have her receipt. And KK got a picture of the room. What the fuck was that supposed to prove? She talking about somebody, Andy, here's the room, Andy, this is the room, this is the room. What was that supposed to prove? Here go Andy. Nice room. Like, because what was the purpose of that? What was the purpose of showing us what the room looked like? I just didn't understand what the proof in that was. Now, again, it's fine for you to say that Wendy did not show up for you the way you wanted Wendy to show up for you. I'm okay with that. But the examples that you gave was some bullshit. I'm okay with you saying Wendy didn't show up for you the way you wanted Wendy to show up for you. I'm fine with that. Don, if you have a second, boo, can you drop the link for the voting link, please? If y'all haven't voted yet today, please vote for the Starlight Awards. Vote for me, and y'all know who I fucks with. So vote with the people. Vote for the people. Remember, you can vote up to 3 times a day per email address. And I haven't even been using all my email addresses. I need to get on here and vote every day. Vote for the next week. We only have 2 more weeks left, y'all, to vote. For the next 2 weeks, I'm going to have to vote from every single one of my email addresses 3 times a day, honey. Little known fact, Greg has been dealing with his ex, hence it has been financially unfavorable. Is the reason why Greg has not mentioned marriage with Kay. Wait a minute. Greg has been dealing with his ex, hence it has been financially unfavorable. I don't understand the financially unfavorable part. Thank you, boo. But Greg's still messing with his ex. I'm not surprised. It's clear that Greg is not as into Kay as she is into him. The reason why he went out of his way to bring her back, in my opinion, to try to get her back, I think was just all about wanting what's not there. Like, men always want somebody. Women too, but I don't date women. I date men. So let me talk about it from my perspective. Men are real quick to beg to get you back after they lost you, even if they really didn't want you. So I don't think it was a situation where Greg was so like, oh my gosh. I think it was, she actually left me. When they got a divorce, the youngest daughter was still practically a baby. Wow. And that's why you should have never left your place. If that man was treating you good, if that man was whining and dining you, let him continue to whine and dine you. Let him keep missing you. Because if your standard is, I want to be married, then that should be your standard. So what that says to me is that really wasn't what your standard was. It says to me that you were just embarrassed that it played out on television. That's what it says to me. I think he wants to clean up his image from last season. I agree. Now, smooches, that's a good point too. Because he did look real crazy last season. You're right. That's a good point. That's a real good point. So then they bring Jazzy out. And KK, this is where it really went downhill for me. Not because of Jazzy, because y'all know I think Jazzy's looking for a moment. I think Jazzy's trying to get her full-time position. So I really ain't. But when Jazzy said that you didn't speak to her on the train and you said I didn't recognize her. And like Andy said, but then you turned around and said that you saw Jazzy on the train, which means that you did recognize her. Then you're going to turn around and say, well, she looks really beautiful today. Stop it. Y'all have filmed with each other, which means y'all have seen each other with makeup on, without makeup on. Y'all have seen each other with your hair in ponytails. Y'all have seen each other in full glam. Y'all have seen each other in your bummy clothes with your Uggs and your oversized t-shirts and some sweatpants. You've seen each other in full-on ball gowns. Stop with the bullshit, Kay. And that just made you look even pettier and even nastier. Because you literally know you saw that woman. And for you to be like, I didn't recognize her, you're insinuating that she just looked that beat down without makeup on. But again, y'all see each other outside of glam. We don't necessarily see y'all outside of glam very often, but y'all see each other all the time. When y'all are on vacation, y'all don't wake up in glam. Y'all get in glam. And when the cameras aren't rolling at night, when you take your makeup off, you wash your face and y'all are just hanging out, chilling, like, especially when y'all are on these cash trips, like, come on. I just thought that was nasty as hell. But remember, she got mad at Wendy for asking if she did her own makeup. Right. Because she said Wendy was being insulting. So then Jazzy brings up the fact her and KK go at it again. I don't have a whole lot for Jazzy either, but she did say something about KK stole Greg from his ex-wife. Now, KK has released a statement, so I'm going to read what KK had to say, because she did make a statement. Let me read what she said, child. Uh-oh. Did I go too far? Hold on. Oh, here it is right here. So this is what KK said about the allegation. She said, the allegation from tonight's episode crossed a line and warrants a response. For clarity, I met Greg during CIAA weekend in 2022. His divorce had already been finalized. That timeline is factual and verifiable. There was no overlap. We take the protection of our family seriously. False claims that impact our family, especially where children are concerned, are unacceptable and have consequences. Reality television invites commentary. It does not justify misinformation or fabricated narratives. Repeating a claim does not make it true. Facts do not change to fit storylines. I will not engage in performative conflict. I will address misinformation directly. I'm not a bench you can ride. The record is clear. Let me say this. Whenever, and we've heard this before, whenever people start dating in close proximity to a separation or a breakup or a divorce, people are quick to try to say, well, that person was already there. I honestly don't know. And that's just the fact. I honestly don't know. If she said she met Greg CIAA weekend in 2022 and his divorce was already final prior to 2022, again, I'm not that vested. I mean, I'm just going to be honest. I'm not that vested. But what I am going to say is this. KK girl, come here. You started dating Greg in 2022. According to what you just said. No, you said you met him in 2022. Great. It is now literally just 2026. Y'all filmed this in 2025, which means y'all filmed the last season in 2024. So you mean to tell me that in 2 years after meeting this man, coming out of his divorce, him having young children, you were pressuring him to get married again. And I know, I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine today. Sometimes when you know, right? You meet somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, you are my person. And when you know, I get that. I know that happens. But what I also know is when people come out of a divorce, sometimes they need a minute to get themselves together. For you to come onto this show with less than 2 years of dating this man, you moving into his house, and now you're like, where's my ring? Where's my ring? Where's my ring? Girl, you didn't really think that man was getting ready to propose to you. You did not really think that man was getting ready to propose to you. Let's just call a thing a thing. That was a whole storyline from the giddy up. You just got embarrassed. Greg just was nasty, and he played in your face, and then you got mad about it. But you did not really think that man was getting ready to ask you to marry him. Please tell me you didn't. Please tell me you did not really think that's what was getting ready to happen, KK. That man, right. Not only is he probably still grieving his divorce, his whole life is different. He's got young kids. They probably dealing with, he's being a dad, dealing with whatever adjustments need to be made. That's just a lot. Because here's the thing. I feel like his divorce was probably in close proximity to when you met him, which is why people are saying that you were already there. So his divorce, so CIAA happens in like around this time. It happens during March Madness, right? So late February, early March is CIAA weekend, usually somewhere in that ballpark, right? So if you met him in 2022, it was early 2022, right? Which means that I feel like his divorce was probably final sometime in 2021, which is why people think that because this isn't the first time I've heard this. I don't know about y'all, but this isn't the first time I've heard that KK was already around, that KK was the mistress. So this, Jazzy didn't make that up. It is a rumor. It has been out there. But that's why I think people probably think that it's because it probably happened in close proximity. But moving right along, it just... Girl, nobody care that much. But KK, you're nasty. And then, and I put this in my notes because I definitely wanted to say it. I thought Stacey did a good job of articulating something that I have always said, but y'all be beating me up when I say it. Stacey said, listen, I understand that the word aggressive has a negative connotation as it relates to Black women. And I understand that I have a responsibility and when I use that word and how I use that word, because I understand what the perception can be to me calling another Black woman aggressive. She said, however, I think there's also responsibility on people to not project aggression. And I said, and that was a very wordy way for her to say what I have always said. I understand that there's a negative connotation to just calling Black women aggressive. However, aggressive is a word that has a definition and it means something. If you are being aggressive, I'm going to call you aggressive. I don't care if you're Black. I don't care if you're white. I don't care if you're Asian. If you are being aggressive, I think it's fair that I say you were or are being aggressive. And when they showed that footage of the way KK was yelling in Stacey's face, and some of the other examples we've already talked about, KK, you were being aggressive. Words mean things. You cannot. I feel like when Wendy said that her first season, and she was saying, I forgot who she said was being aggressive. Candace, Monique, somebody. I don't know. But not Monique. Maybe Monique. I don't know. But again, I felt the same way. I was like, if you were being aggressive, the word applies. Like, I'm sorry. I'm not going to just sit here and act like we can't use the English language because it might offend some people because it's been used in a negative way in the past. If you're being an aggressive person, I'm going to fucking say you're being aggressive. Not the chair. Shut up, Cajun. It's an ass backwards way Oh, so I'm sorry. It's I said that ass backwards way to address the problem. The angry black woman trope isn't going away if you don't call black women angry or aggressive. Right. And but I like the way Stacey said it. Stacey was like, look, I get it. I understand that it's a loaded word, but I also know that if you being aggressive, I'm gonna be that's what you are. That might Lauren said Greg is her a karma for how she treats others. Well, to be honest, that might be why she's so nasty. That might be why she's so nasty. Next was Tia's package, and can I just be honest and tell y'all I didn't take no notes because I really didn't care, and it's not because I don't like Tia. I like Tia. I think Tia should come back, but the whole Tia Jazzy conflict, I don't care because I feel like once again Jazzy was picking on Tia for a storyline, so it just didn't make sense to me. I don't care about it. The father storyline, I get it. I understand. I'm sorry. And I get the wanting to connect to your dad and wanting to feel connected. And I understand all of that. It was a nice storyline. I think it was a genuine storyline. And I'm glad that she opened us up to that with her family and all of that. I got all of that. It just didn't really give me a whole lot as far as the story, as far as the reunion is concerned. But, I like Tia. I think she deserves another season. Stacey also told y'all that Jazzy be recording calls, and they said you need to be very careful when you on the phone with her because she records calls, and you better make sure that she don't have you on the line saying some shit you don't want her to repeat. And Stacey and that's the one thing that KK and Stacey agreed on because KK says she does record phone calls. So I'm just gonna say, girl, if you record phone calls, you better stop. You better stop, child. Then we have Giselle. I guess give us some clarity to the situation where her father. Giselle, I'm gonna be honest, you didn't clear nothing up for me, and let me tell you why. Because you literally said, and I believe it was this season when you were talking to your daughters, you literally said that in the will, your daughters were supposed to get certain things. You were supposed to get certain things, and you talked about his money, his property. You talked about the materialistic things. You didn't talk about his legacy and maybe artifacts that he left. You didn't talk about any of that. You literally talked about the finances and the money and the property. You said that. So now you're saying that that's not why you were suing. You're saying that you were suing to protect your dad because he was a civil rights leader and there were certain things that you wanted to protect, but that the city of Houston is building a park for him, so everything is okay now. Girl, what? So you spent all that money, time, and energy suing this woman that was married to your daddy for years? Like, this not some woman that fell out the sky in the last minute. For years. 4 years. Married to your daddy for years. Now all of a sudden, it wasn't about the money. Now all of a sudden, it was about girl. She didn't want the stepmother to use his likeness. Why? I mean, I understand what you're saying, Xavier, but my thing is, why? She has every right to. This is where people need to, and I understand as kids it's hard, but this is where people need to let stuff go. Whether you like it or not, she is his next of kin. And again, this isn't some woman that just fell out the sky in the last year or two. He's been married to this woman for a while. Why do you have an issue with her using your dad's likeness? For what? What do you think that she's going to do with your dad's likeness that would be a problem? I mean, you think she's going to start t-shirts and mugs and you know what I mean? It's just weird to me. It's weird to me. And then, like I told y'all, Giselle was talking as if she was the only person that was a part of this. Giselle has a sister and a brother. So, you made it seem like everything would have come to you and then everything would have gone to your daughters when there are other people in this equation. There are other people in this conversation. You have a brother. I'm not sure if your brother has kids or not. You have a sister who I believe has kids. So there's a whole nother, like, you are, even if the judge ruled in your favor, what about your sister and your brother? What about your nieces and nephews? If you have other nieces and nephews, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. But again, Giselle, people walked away with that impression because that's literally what you said. You literally said that. I feel a way about the white woman controlling the black man's civil rights legacy. I'm with Giselle. Her daughter should get those artifacts. Why? Because she white? Okay. I mean, Frederick Douglass was married to a white woman. She shouldn't have control over his artifacts. I mean, a whole lot of them was married to white women. And again, she didn't just fall out the sky. They've been married for years. Years. And maybe she was a part of the civil rights movement. There was a whole lot of white people that was part of the civil rights movement. Maybe she was. We don't know nothing about this woman. We know that Giselle don't like her. That is it, and that is all. But I mean, again, you have a right to feel how you feel. And again, I'm gonna say this, and I've said this before about people. I'm saying this to everybody in here, myself included, we have to put our affairs in order. And we have to make sure that whatever we put in order, not only do we have to make sure it's legal, but I feel like there's an obligation to have a conversation with family, especially when you know that people don't get along. So, for example, child, you know Giselle don't like your wife. You know that Giselle don't like your wife. I feel like you were obligated, and maybe he did, and Giselle's not being honest about that. But I feel like you should have sat down and said, look, these are what my affairs look like. This is what it looks like. This is what goes where. You know, if there were things that he wanted protected that he didn't want his wife to have, he should have given them to Giselle before he died. If he was concerned about it. Doesn't sound like he was that concerned about what was going to happen with his legacy and his pictures. And like, I guess I don't understand what the wife can do to tarnish his image. That's what I don't understand. And, you know, I don't have to understand, I guess, but I don't understand what Giselle thinks that this woman is going to do. Giselle did say there was another will and it got changed weeks before he died. That's the reason why she challenged it, because he wasn't in the right state of mind. Right. That's what Giselle said. But clearly the judge didn't agree. And I hear what you say. I know what Giselle said. But clearly she didn't have enough proof to support that because the judge didn't agree. Let's be clear. Remember with Aretha Franklin, remember they were fighting, and the will that won was the handwritten will that they found underneath the sofa cushion. So it doesn't have to be this grand, it went to a law firm and all of that. It literally just has to, whatever the burden of proof is. Again, there were multiple wills that Aretha Franklin left, because I guess if she got mad at somebody, she wrote a different will. But the one that won out in court is literally the one that is handwritten, left underneath a sofa cushion. So if Giselle could substantiate that in court, I feel like she might have won. But it sounds like that is Giselle's version of events. I don't know it to be true because I didn't follow it. I didn't pull none of the paperwork. I didn't read none of the documents. But Giselle's version of the story is the second will was written after her father could no longer give, was no longer there because he had the brain tumor. And that might be true. But the judge, I guess, didn't feel like it met the burden. Especially since the wife is the next of kin. It's hard. Y'all, it's hard. When somebody is married, baby, it's hard. I just can't see Giselle's dad keeping his kids out of the will. We don't know here's what we don't know. We don't know if they were kept out of the will. What we know is that Giselle didn't get what she felt like they were supposed to get. She never said that they were totally cut out of the will. She said she didn't believe that the will that the wife presented is the correct will. We don't know what Giselle got in the will. We don't know what the kids got in the will. We just know that they didn't get what Giselle thought they should get. You see what I'm saying? That's all we know. And what we also know is whatever the conflict was, a judge has decided after over a year, which tells me that whatever paperwork, support, evidence, affidavits, blah, 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 a judge read through everything and said, no, this is the will that's going to stand. And I'm sure they submitted his medical records. I'm sure they submitted the day he was diagnosed with the brain tumor. I'm sure all of that was a part of the court record. I am certain of it. And a judge decided, and I'm not saying that the judge always gets it right, but I'm just saying a judge said, no. I just hope now that she can process and finish mourning. That's it. That's it, and that's all. Same thing happened to my grandfather. He left everything to my mom, his only living child. Second will, he gave everything to his niece. Yeah, I mean, and people do change their mind. Listen, it's their shit. They can change their mind. My grandmother, let me tell you what my grandmother did. Number one, my grandmother started giving us stuff. But what she also did was, if you wanted something, if you state claim to something, she would put your name on it. So, for example, that picture right there, that was my grandmother's picture. I love that picture. 2 pictures in my house that belong to my grandmother. It's that picture, and there's another picture I have at the bottom of my steps. Hey, Papo. When my grandmother passed away and we were packing up her house, my name is written on the back of that picture. My aunt, who was the executor of my grandmother's estate, said, your name is on that picture. Did you know that she was going to give you that picture? I said, I didn't know that. I said, but I love that picture. Every time I came over here, I always just complimented the pictures. I love that picture. She said, well, it's yours. Now, I know that's not legal, and I know it doesn't always go that way, but I just feel like sometimes, we just have to do a better job. We collectively, we just have to do a better job, myself included. I have some things in order, but I probably need to sit down and update some stuff and really write some stuff out. I know after my brother passed away, I had to change some things and update some things. My parents had to change some things and update some things. You know what I mean? So we all could do better. We all could do better. All I took when my sister passed was her clothes. I ended up throwing them out, though. I couldn't even look at them. I know my cousin who passed away, it was really my cousin's wife, but she was a Delta. And each one of us took one of her elephants. Now, of course, the elephant has a different meaning to us than it did to her as being a Delta, but she had a bunch of elephants, and we knew how much she loved being a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and she had these elephants, and so we all have an elephant. The elephant is upstairs in my jewelry box. It's not out, it's not on display, and it doesn't say Delta Sigma Theta. It's not paraphernalia, but it's an elephant. And so like stuff like that, like my cousin, we helped him pack up the house. We helped him pack up her stuff. And he was like, y'all take whatever y'all want. I mean, and we did the same thing back, we were looking at her clothes and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be honest, I think I took a couple of pairs of shoes. I have never, to this day, I have never worn those shoes. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I just never put those shoes on. So stuff like that, you know what I mean? But if you have something, a legacy and a state, you know what I'm saying? Put your shit in order. And I feel like he did. I feel like Giselle just didn't like what was there. And maybe he did change it right before. Let me tell you something else. You might feel one way until mortality is smacking you in the face. You know what I'm saying? So maybe he felt differently after something. I don't know. But what I do know is the judge said, Kay just said I couldn't even go into my mom's house after because it was too painful. Yeah, and I get that. Like when my cousin, we went over there and we helped him pack up his wife's stuff as fast as we could because we knew it was hard for him to go into that house every day and see her everywhere. And I mean, obviously we didn't take every single thing, but like her clothes and like that kind of stuff. I mean, we were cleaning up like, you know, we were cleaning out her dresser and her Bath and Body Works and her perfume, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, you know, her just her day-to-day stuff. We were just trying to help him get it out of the house because we knew, you know, it was hard. And people deal with grief differently. And that might have been a part of Giselle's grieving process, you know? So I hope that now that that's done, she doesn't have to like it, but hopefully that helps her get to the next thing, you know? Last but not least, Monique comes out. Now, look, I know a lot of y'all aren't buying the Monique spiritual, better person. I get it. I understand that. I do think Monique is not the same Monique that was on this show before for a variety of reasons. I do think that she was unhappy in her marriage, but trying to prove to everybody how happy she was. I do think that she cared way too much about what people thought about her and about putting on a certain image and a certain air. I believe all of those things. And I do believe that Monique has done the work. Now, is she perfect? No. Is she 100% there? No. But I definitely think she's a lot better than what she was. I just do. I just do. I know everybody doesn't though, and that's fine. The whole binder part, don't care. I mean, it was cute little prop. It was cute that they brought it back. Because I remember Andy asked for that binder when she first, you know, did it. And everybody keeps talking about she's got that whole binder. And all she read was Giselle. No, if you guys go back, she told us she did read from other parts of that binder. It was just edited out. She read stuff that was in there about Robin. She read stuff that was in there about Candace. It was just edited out because the most explosive thing was what she said about Giselle. The most explosive was what she said about Giselle. So there were other things said. The whole issue with Stacey, the whole issue with Angel. Monique, you were wrong. Just say you were wrong. I didn't like the fact that Monique couldn't just say, you know what, I was probably projecting and I was wrong for putting that on you and your marriage. And you're absolutely correct because that's the same thing everybody did to me. And I know what it felt like on the other side. And you're absolutely correct. And I do apologize. I apologize. Girl, that's what I needed you to do, Monique. But for you to sit there, once again, don't try to change. Hold on. Don't try to change what you did and what you said and the intent behind it. And then you had the nerve to be like, yeah, well, I know Bobby mad at me because he didn't speak to me when I saw him. Why would he, Monique? You literally said that your husband was abusive and you have compared this man to your husband. Why would he go out of his way to speak to you? Why would he? Like, y'all need to understand that when y'all say these things, people have real feelings about it. I know, right, Cage? And I'm going to slide it in here. Now, before I finish this up, y'all know we getting on this boat, okay? We are getting on this boat. It's 180 of y'all in here. Y'all need to get on this boat with us, okay? Now, we are going, I'm just saying this real quick, and then I'm going to finish up. We are going, it's Tri-Boat 2.0. We're getting on the Freedom of the Seas. It is February the 11th through the 15th of 2027. We're leaving out of Miami. The rooms start at $892. They go up to $1,386. That is for double occupancy. Find your roommate and cut that price in half. If you are selling by yourself, they do have single rates available. So when you call, just tell them you are floating by floating. You're cruising by yourself and you need that price. Call that 800 number. Give them the group number 9923-946. And they will get you set up. It is a $200 deposit, and you have until November to pay the whole, November the 28th to be exact. You have until the end of the month to pay the whole thing off. Those rates are locked until March the 16th, okay? I'm going to leave that up there for another second or two in case somebody want to take a screenshot. Listen, I'm going to be on the boat. Cage is going to be on the boat. DB's going to be on the boat. Whole bunch of the people going to be on the boat. Quake going to be on the boat. I can't wait to meet y'all that I haven't already met. Okay. Let me finish this up with Monique. Well, come on, Italia. It's option 5 when you call, right, Cajun? So you're shot, girl. Come on and get on the boat with us for real. Real talk. Come on and get on the boat with us. We'll have a good time. We'll have a good time. I think that we had a few people that were a little shy when they first got on the boat, baby. And that ain't how it ended. That is not how it ended. Okay. I changed it, Chuck. I changed it. All right. Cheryl gonna be on the boat? Exactly. And I'm on the same floor with y'all. I'm on floor 10. Well, I'm on the same floor with Cajun. I'm on floor 10. So let me finish this up. So Monique, listen, all you had to do was apologize, girl. Just say, Angel, I'm still a work in progress. And there are certain things that I see in other marriages that do trigger me. And I am so sorry that I took my experience and I projected it onto you and your husband. That was it was not my intention to be offensive, but I can see now how it would offend you and why it offended you and your husband. And I do apologize. That's what you should have done, Monique. That is literally what you should have done. But instead, you were like, well, that's not what I meant. What I said was, no, girl, you said exactly what they said you said. And you meant it exactly the way they said you meant it. Because you know why we know that? Because you said it out your own mouth. You said it out your own mouth, Monique. You said, I've seen this before. And you literally said it when y'all were in the car, girl. Now, Angel has also posted a comment. So let me read y'all what Angel had to say, honey child. All these housewives was talking after the show last night. So Angel said the following. I will never address this again. God and my mama in heaven brought my husband to me. He loved the grief of my mama's passing away. He is an incredible father. He's supportive, attentive, loving. He is my partner in creativity and adventure. And he spoils me. She put that with 3 O's. He's also incredibly honest and kind. And however he treats someone is absolutely what they deserve. I do not play about him, nor he about me. Now, everyone should worry about their situation because mine is golden. Well, Angel. Now, Angel, all I got to say is, girl, you know that if something happened next season, they're going to throw that in your face. But listen, again, it's her marriage, and it's her marriage to feel how she feel about it, okay? It's her marriage. Right, Cajun. Cajun took the words right out of my mouth. I hope we don't see no marital issues next season. Now, last but not least, this Stacey situation, and y'all know they already gave us the sneak peek. See, this where y'all are stupid. You gave us a great cliffhanger because I was so mad at the end of this. I said, damn, they're going to leave me hanging, and I want to know what the receipt is. And then come today, they done already put out the first 5 minutes of next week's episode, so we know what the cliffhanger is. You could have at least waited until like Thursday. Give us a few minutes. Give us some days to talk about it, to speculate. Like, let's blue, 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 blue. Like, give us some time to speculate. You know what I'm saying? But y'all done already let us know. So the receipt is allegedly there's a video that Monique shows. Now, they bleeped the video out, so we don't know who's actually on the video. But somebody that is friends with Monique told Monique that Stacey was the one that told Chris that she was filming with her kids. Now, we did not see Monique film with her kids. We saw pictures of her kids, but I don't think we saw Monique film with her kids. So she said that she has been back and forth to court with Chris because Chris sent her, she said he literally sent her a cease and desist the night before the reunion. And she's been back and forth to court because of things that have been said on the show or allegedly said on the show that people have been bringing back to her that she has been upset about, or that he has been upset about, excuse me. Let me say this. They won't say who the person is, but Monique said that this person doesn't know Stacey, has never met Stacey, so she is going to lean into believing what this person said over what Stacey said. This is my opinion. I don't know who this person is. However, this person could have watched the same show I watched. Just because this person is saying it's Stacey doesn't make it true, because it literally could be somebody that's just jumping on the "we hate Stacey" bandwagon and threw Stacey's name in it. Now we do know we done caught Stacey in some lies, so that doesn't mean that Stacey didn't do it. But I feel like at this point, Monique, you know, like you said, you know that your ex-husband be on that bullshit. So this could literally just be a nothing burger. Again, that was the cliffhanger. So we'll see next week. Stacey said it's a lie. She said she did not talk to Chris. She ain't called Chris. She said, I just came through my own divorce, dealing with my own custody issue. Why would I do that to you? Y'all know when it comes to certain things with Stacey, I think Stacey plays word salad with things. I don't believe Stacey did that. Now I could be wrong because look, I don't know. But I don't believe that Stacey called Chris to tell Chris anything about what was going on with Monique. I don't believe that. That I don't believe. I could be wrong, but I just don't believe it. Especially since it wasn't true. Like, Monique didn't film with her kids. We saw pictures, but we did not see Monique with her kids. So, I don't know. Anyway, y'all, that is part 2 of the reunion. So next week, I guess we'll wrap up with the Grand Dame. We'll, of course, we'll get that. And I guess we'll wrap up with the Grand Dame and Giselle. Because I guess we talked about everybody except for Giselle, but Giselle ain't had no storyline. I guess that was her storyline with her talking about her dad. I don't know, because we ain't really got nothing else for Giselle. But that's going to be part 3. So and so we'll see the Grand Dame. We'll see her and Wendy's conflict and all of that. I mean, she already did the interview, so I don't feel like we're going to get a whole lot of new information. We already have like the one-on-one situation. But that's pretty much what it is. That was pretty much the episode, you guys. The Whether You Like It or Not panel is tonight. It is on is it Busy or Sakina? It's Busy's channel tonight, and then it's Sakina next week to wrap up the season. And with that being said, you guys, I'm going to be out of here. Married to Medicine, I have to watch. Again, it didn't record, so I have to probably go to the Peacock app and watch Married to Medicine. So y'all will probably get that tomorrow. We're going to do a regular tribe meeting at 6:45. We got to talk about this T.I. and 50 Cent mess and a few other odds and ends that's been going on. But that's pretty much what it is. Yeah, it's going to be on Busy's channel tonight. I don't think Stacey would mess with other people's kids. I just don't think she did it. But listen, I don't know these people like that. I could be wrong. But I don't think she did. Oh, my bad. And with that being said, y'all, I'm out of here. I will talk to y'all later. Go book that cruise. Go vote. I see y'all at 6:45. Peace.